This might be the prettiest troublemaker in watercolor. Winsor Newton's Quinacridone Violet creates gorgeous blossoms, glowing washes, and enough drama to make your skies and florals look expensive. In the next few minutes, I'll test Winsor Newton's Quinacridone Violet for lifting, blooming effects, transparency mixes, and why this vibrant purple may be one of the best paints for creating intentional watercolor blossoms and soft atmospheric effects. Straight out of the tube, this color mixes up pretty easy. It's very, very dark. It's very easy to make a dark color from this, a dark wash. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to get a non-streaky graduated wash from dark to light. And I start at the top with the dark color, then I'm watering it down as I go to the bottom. I do have my board tilted a little bit, so gravity's doing some work for me. It's actually pretty easy to get a nice graduated wash from this color. Go back into it a little bit just to make it perfect. While things are still wet, you can still mess around with it. Don't worry about that too much. But it's interesting, the color does seem to shift a little bit when it dries. It looks a little bit more purple when it's wet, and then when it dries, it looks a little bit more reddish, but it is a really pretty color. It's not very granulating either, which is kind of nice. And what I'm going to do for this next test here, once this starts to dry a little bit, is now I want to start to see if this color blossoms very well. And what I'm going to do for my next swatch is I'm going to put down like a mid-value color, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it even across the whole surface here. I'm going wet paint onto dry paper, so I'm working wet onto dry. You could do wet on wet, but this is just going to take long for the effect to kick in. What I'm trying to do is get the paint even across the whole section here. And then once it's even across the whole section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the paint sit there for a few seconds on top of the paper. I want the color not to soak into it, but I don't want it to be too wet. Because what I'm trying to do with intentional water blossoms is you're going to come back in with that clean water. You're going to drop clean water right on top of that already existing wet color. And I want to see if that pushes the pigment aside, if that creates the intentional water blossom or not. If it's too wet, it doesn't do much. If you drop in too much water, you kind of kill the effect. So it's a very balancing act. Here I come with the clean water. I'm just seeing if anything happens with that. With water blossoms, you just have to give it a couple minutes. And that's the hardest thing because people want to start messing around with it and screwing around with it too much. You got to do, first off, you have to do this flat with the paper flat and just drop the water in and see what happens. Because I'm impatient right now, so I'm going to take off a little bit of the color with a thirsty brush so the brush is drier than the paper. I'm going to come back again with clean water and drop the water into that drier area and see what happens here. And just wait, which is the hardest thing to do with watercolor. I have no patience. I have no idea how I paint this medium. I do love it though. Ooh, look at that. Look what's happening there. That's really pushing that pigment aside right now. So this is an example of you just have to give it a little bit of time. Every color works a little bit differently too when it comes to blossoms. You just kind of have to learn the colors, which is one of the reasons why when I teach watercolor classes, I'm always telling people, don't buy 1,000 different paints. Buy 5 or 6. Really figure out what they do before you move on to new paints. Because we all know it's way too much fun to go into the store and spend hundreds of dollars and buy a bunch of paints, but you usually get a disaster of a painting afterwards. This last swab, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put down the color, and I'm trying to do like a lighter value version of the color to see if there's much difference when it comes to the blossoms or not. So there won't be as much pigment in this here. Am I expecting it to blossom less? I don't know. This is what I'm testing this for. So this color is made of PB55, which is a moderately staining, transparent color. You can get it off the paper a little bit, but if it's very dark, you're not going to be able to get it all off the paper. And you can see here that once this stuff dries, it blossoms absolutely beautifully. It's one of the actually better blossoming colors, which is nice. So if you want this effect, you definitely want to use this color. If you don't want blossoms, then maybe don't use this, or tilt your paper when you do this so that gravity is doing the work for you. You don't get these blossom effects. Quinacridone Violet is vibrant, transparent, and loves to bloom. It stains more than a cobalt, lifts less easily, rewards you with glowing color, dramatic blossoms, and soft atmospheric textures that can make paintings feel alive, assuming you enjoy a little watercolor chaos. Enjoyed this content? Please hit subscribe. If you're interested in all the materials used in this painting, check out the YouTube description below. Thank you for watching, and happy painting.